Trump has to make some choices that people aren't going to like. And I don't know. I think to a certain extent, this great awakening, we'll talk about it. Some things have to play out because
Yep.
we'll just see. Okay. So we're all set. Let me just put my happy little note in here.
Yeah.
So hold on.
Happy note.
Okay, please type in the chat with first names only. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to get ready to, where did my Zoom window go? Here it is. Okay, so we're going to start and we're going to go live now. We are live streaming. That's what we're doing. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, September 26, 2025. This is GoldFish Report number 1174, and it's our weekly food for the soul with our friends, a psychic medium, Mark Christopher Nelson, and his lovely wife, Barb. How are you guys this week?
We're good.
Very
We're good.
Very good.
Nothing too wild. There's just so much to keep up with the news, but I'm sure that
Yes.
we'll get to that. And it's been I do think that the news, the other flip side of it, is that it's all a spiritual battle. So that said, let's talk about what you're finding out these days.
Well, as we're in this great awakening. So there's a lot of things that are happening this week. Comey was indicted.
Yeah.
And, we also had a document, which a lot of people might not know about, but like at the end of July, the Director of National Intelligence, talked about how these whistleblowers were trying to alert the people in intelligence and FBI that the dossier, that the Russia, this whole thing, this fake collusion stuff, then it just went on deaf ears. And it goes to show that what's happening is this is all being exposed now. Now is time to, like, one after the next, we're going to start seeing more of this happen. Like, so Comey is being indicted, and everyone connected to him is going to go with him. And it's really going to be, but I think you have to realize what Q has talked about, and that is optics, and everything really has to be done in a way that, guys, they have such advanced technology that they are monitoring people with, in terms of people's reactions to what's being, like, what is their tolerance level? How are they reacting? Can they handle more? How do we push, then we drop, once we drop this, then we're going to drop this and this, so it's really, they're always gauging our reaction to whatever happens, because that guides their disclosure process. So that's some of the things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, look who's joining us tonight. Hi, Winston. We have Winston Shrout in the house again.
Hi, Winston.
Hi, Winston.
And we have Dan, who's in the house as well. And Dan, I've actually interviewed many times. I actually know both of them. So hello, good to see you guys. Yeah, so I got some interesting news that I wanted to share with everybody tonight. Get ready. Get your popcorn ready. This is going to be interesting. On the edge of your seat. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to explain this. I have to take my glasses off because I have to read this. I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. And Winston probably knows a lot about this too. So Winston, feel free if you want to type it in the chat to jump in. But with regard to, I know a lot of people don't talk about presidents that were, long time ago, but there's something very related here. A lot of people said that JFK created, I think it was the Secret Service. It was the secret, Winston, what is that? It was the secret
it had
military.
name.
What is that? What was it called? It was a secret military that he had created, or it was thought that he had created, with regard to protecting the president, and with regard to, I think it was a Secret Service. I think it was a Secret Service, but it might have been something else. But what I'm finding out is that it actually didn't start with Kennedy. It
No.
actually started with Abraham Lincoln.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So what's going on here in 1862? Um, Many people, realize that there was a lot of, even back then, there was foreign relations happening. They had,
Mhm.
we weren't, isolated, from the world in 1862. In fact, we don't know a lot about how we communicated with the world in 1862 because it's been erased. That was,
Mhm.
you know, deliberate, right? The books and all of this, right?
Mhm.
But there's a person who was, this is very interesting. Everyone has heard of um, Ingersoll Lockwood, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's very interesting what I have found here. Well, I didn't find it, but I was given
Uh-huh.
this information. So Ingersoll Lockwood was an American lawyer. He was a writer, as you may know. Um, he was appointed counsel to this Hanover Kingdom in Germany. So this
Hmm.
was part of Abe Lincoln's foreign policy relations. Okay. But it was very strategic because um, in this Hanover Kingdom was also a family called the Drump family.
Hmm.
I think you're all starting to put the connections together now.
The Trump
Drump,
family?
Drump, which was originally, which is what it is now, is the Trump family, but it was Drump. That
Huh.
was their name in Germany. Um, so he was appointed counsel to the Hanover Kingdom in Germany. And the reason that was important was that this was connected to the Trump family and secret societies and all kinds of things. Okay. Um, but what happens is that he ended up getting involved with people who uh had access to deep buried technology,
Huh.
advanced technology that was underground in Germany. Um, and he was exploring that. And what happened was, and I'm trying to get kind of speed this up here, but I'm just summarizing it,
Yep.
that he ended up involved with very advanced physics and very advanced so there was so he was working with eventually Tesla, but how he found out this is a crazy story. Listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
So underground in these underground facilities in Germany, there was I guess he had worked with some military there and some advanced beings. Okay,
Hmm.
advanced beings. They took him through this portal, and the reason he specifically was assigned to do this. What happened was, and now it's all going to make sense in a minute, but what happened was he went through these portals. So a wormhole is really what they're saying is that a wormhole is it gives you access to different timelines.
Mm-hmm.
So they opened a portal, which is a wormhole, and you can access different timelines. So this is interesting. He ended up in Russia, and that's where he met Nikola Tesla. But he
Huh.
was meeting Tesla's future self,
Hmm.
his older self. I know this gets a little bit crazy, but he was meeting with, and he told Lockwood, you need to make sure that when you go back to this other timeline, that you um take, look after my family and not look after them, connect with them and make sure that I get into the United States at a certain time so
Mm-hmm.
that he could work with Thomas Edison and start working on
Wow.
developing technology.
Okay.
This is fascinating stuff. this is how Ingersoll Lockwood wrote the book Adventures of Baron Trump. So all of this stuff, and so listen to this as if that wasn't interesting enough. Okay, so underneath, so there's a lot, like most mountains have military bases underneath, and they're not
Hmm.
all
Okay.
U.S. military or national. Some of them are
Hmm.
extra dimensional or extraterrestrial bases. And this one, there's one, actually, I think it's under Mount Hayes, has a Nordic base there.
Hmm.
And Tesla was in communication with them
Hmm.
and learned how, yeah, so Tesla had to, uh, Ingersoll Lockwood had to help Tesla get into the USA and had to go back and work with Edison, which I already
Uh-huh.
mentioned. So this stuff is incredible because Uh, even Tesla didn't, he really defeated death actually, because he knew that the spirit could leave your body. And so this is where you have these ascended masters and you have people who can truly actually leave their body and go on another timeline and live life. So it makes more sense now when you're looking at these mummies and how well they preserve these bodies. They weren't necessarily for the dead. They planned on coming back.
Yes.
So they had advanced technology, so advanced we are unaware of this. We don't know about this. But it makes you start to wonder, right? And so all this stuff eventually is going to really come out. Um, so you can jump timelines. This is using infinite energy. You can activate the spirit to go into different timelines. And this is where I believe, Mark, you are able to still connect with the consciousness because the soul is still alive on another timeline. So that's really what happens when we die. From what this source has told me,
Hmm.
this is really what happens when we die. We go onto another timeline. And this is how it's just fascinating stuff. So Tesla was able to do this. He was able to change his looks. He could be somebody else on another timeline. And he did this. And it's such super advanced technology. So he was able to change his face and how he looked in his age and all kinds of things. And you're not even going to believe who his soul is right now
Oh, he came
and why
back.
it was so important that this person ended up in Russia and why this person ended up very interesting. According to this source, oh God, a lot of people think Barron Trump is Tesla, but Tesla was
Wow.
actually his tutor. Not
Uh,
kidding you. In a different, um, I just know that he was his tutor, and I don't know which form he was taking or what spirit, what body. But this is a very fascinating topic because apparently um apparently the soul of Nikola Tesla's is actually Edward Snowden.
wow.
Wow.
I told you
Well,
guys I was going to blow your mind tonight. That's why I felt like
that's
I
like a
really needed
wow. That's
to.
a huge.
Now, there's a reason why, see, this base in Russia, you have to have a certain frequency. Your soul has a frequency, it has a prime frequency.
Mhm.
And this to access it, you had to have a frequency. This advanced technology recognized Tesla, recognized him, and recognized, and I had heard this before, that Snowden, it was his frequency that was able to access certain um ancient technology, actually activate it. This
Wow.
is fascinating stuff. Fascinating. What do you guys think of this?
Well, it blows my mind a little bit. Yeah, a lot of it. You can draw parallels between Snowden, who came, to reveal and
Right.
to show us things in ways we've never imagined. He was the one
He was
spilling
the
the
first
beans.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in this era of reveals. He was one of the first ones. He paid
Mm,
some pretty high prices for
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But he put himself in a place as a younger man where he could have access to this information, make the
Mm,
decisions about it, share it, and then avoid being thrown in jail. I mean,
mm,
he's got to be a very brilliant guy. And
yeah.
so, well,
It was
It
for his
doesn't shock me.
protection. In
Yeah.
fact, what happened was it was like a trade. It was a swap that um, the US had to make this swap to Russia and give him uh, Snowden because Snowden could activate advanced technology, like ancient technology that
Wow.
apparently nobody else could. It's very, very fascinating, this whole thing. And we know about Ingersoll Lockwood, right? Because we know about the adventures of, Baron Trump and also the last president. So like, how do they know these things? So the fact that the fact that people can I'm sorry, looking for my thing here. Oh,
Where
hold on a
is
second.
where is right now Edward Snowden? Is he in U.S. custody?
He's in Russia.
He
Yeah.
is in Russia.
He's in
Okay.
Russia, and that's why he's in Russia, because he's activating
Okay.
he's able to activate this technology that they are using. And this technology, oh, I see. Where did I go? Hold on a second. I have so many windows open. I'm trying to.
Not again.
Monitors can support your work. Okay, then I close. Yeah, just hang on. No, nothing's freezing. I just have a lot of windows open because I wanted to screen share stuff. But
Hmm.
I thought this was extremely fascinating. That's why I thought it was like very much related to what you do, Mark, because what do you what is your intuition telling as a psychic medium? Weigh in on this if you
All
would.
right. Well, one thing I will tell you, one of the things I learned early on is that I had it explained to me that on the other side you can go and visit the past, you can visit the future, you can visit the present, you can see people simultaneously. It was described to me as imagine that you're walking through a massive hotel where all of these doors are just like right there in the hallway. If you want to say go visit your mother
Mm,
when she was 18 years old, you just walk into that door open and then you're with her. You can observe her. If you want to be with Lincoln, walk
mm,
down another door, Abraham Lincoln,
yeah.
and go right there. And so, or go to the future. What is the future going to look like? That's always a little scary. It's easier to look backward. That's one thing I will tell you.
Mm,
Looking forward is at least when I'm doing readings for a single person, it's okay. And even when we're looking at like the universe or America, let's say we're just looking at America right now. What's the world going coming to or
mm,
happening in America?
mm,
So it's there. So the idea that as a conscious being, um, Tesla, who could be in a current incarnation as Edward Snowden, can also still have his consciousness in the other side, helping to direct, point,
mhm,
create, um, cause linking, cause, all of this. So the idea that, in fact, that may be a way. I mean, I've always seen it as someone who's an extra, another dimension, living in another dimension.
mhm,
I've described this world as our current incarnation, but there are overlays that allow people to like an extra layer, an extra dimension where you can go from A to B,
mhm,
even though A to B can be on different sides of the world in different times. So
mhm,
um, I do think that being able to slip in and out of dimensions is real. Um, Barbara and I have been in a house where we saw like dimensional beings coming and going. We monitored them through two different forms of electronic technology. I mean, they're very basic, but together
right.
they formed a very compelling proof.
But did you
But
guys feel like you were getting communication from them?
yeah,
Like
definitely.
telepathic communication?
Oh yeah.
Like in concepts and ideas and
Right.
not just energy signatures, right?
Messages.
Oh, I
Yes.
mean,
Messages.
they often
Yeah.
they express themselves directly to us.
Oh.
We had beings that would say, "Mark, who's in?" We would ask, "Who's in the
Mm,
room?" Mark and Barbara. Okay, and we would have that recorded. We could hear it. Okay, that's good. So they know who we are, and so they were willing to speak to us. And being, in the context of where we were, they weren't trying to tell us World War III will occur in 2040. They were more or
mm,
less saying, this is who I was in this life, and this is who's in the room, and this is what's happening. So
yeah.
could they, I mean, they were mostly at the time interested in just saying, I'm here, I'm conscious, don't forget me. But if you asked and pressed them, I mean, but it wasn't really a situation where I could, sit down and talk to them. It's important to remember that just because you're on the other side does not mean that you're omnipotent and know everything. They're like the
Right.
people I'm talking to were
Mm-hmm.
just foot soldiers. They were just
Mm-hmm.
average people.
Mm-hmm.
And so their conscious awareness, I mean, they might be able to say within my family or within my area of influence, I know this to be true and this
Mm-hmm.
would happen. But could they tell us, you know, the great mysteries? I don't
Mm-hmm.
think so. I don't, and I mean, part of me too, in truth, I wasn't asking them, for what's the world going to be like in 20 years. I was more or less interested in saying, who are you? What are you doing here? So,
Right.
but in any case, could
Mm-hmm.
Snowden be connected, affiliated? Could he be at a spiritual level connected to Tesla? That feels correct. It feels likely
Mm-hmm.
because they both seem to have certain person. It's one thing I will tell you, between incarnations, we tend to hold on to certain personality traits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where we on our soul's journey from one incarnation to the next, we're trying to improve ourselves, trying to learn, trying to avoid the same mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are details about us that don't change between incarnations. I mean, some people are focused on wanting to heal. Other people are looking for love. Other people don't want to
Mm-hmm.
repeat the mistakes that caused their demise in the past life.
Mm-hmm.
That occurs quite a bit. I
Mm-hmm.
hear about that. Or someone, I don't want to repeat my previous incarnation where I died young, or if I died alone, or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
circumstances of their past life. They
That's
generally want to
interesting,
go past
though.
it.
I mean, that's really interesting that somebody would be like, you know, of all the things that they did in their life here, like that their death would be, that they would, make it a point to mention that they, you know,
Well, let's talk
would.
about Tesla. And Tesla probably, you could say he created some. From what I know about him, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm,
He ventured right up to the edge of some pretty amazing, breathtaking
mhm,
technological leaps.
mhm,
But you could also say that, I mean, he ended up, to my knowledge, dying alone in a hotel where he had very limited access and resources. His great empire had
mhm,
been drawn down.
mhm,
His
mhm,
resources were limited.
mhm,
And that, we saw basically an old man that had, at the time of his passing, had lost
mhm.
um, his standing and his fortunes and all of that.
Yeah.
So
He
could
was he was old though. I think he was like in his 80s. So I mean, he really didn't have. But I mean, this technology. This is what I'm saying. It's like this tech. First of all, let me just check in with the live chat. I
sure.
haven't seen the live chat move lately, and I don't know if there's a problem. So can somebody type a message just to give us an idea whether it's working? Because I don't see it moving, and I don't see. Hi, Marisha, conspiratory. How are you? Yeah, because I don't see it moving, and remember that if you want to ask Mark a question, you can type it in the chat and you can include your first name of the person that you're inquiring about. Or if you have some kind of paranormal question, you can certainly ask Barb as well. But if
Yeah.
you could type it in the chat, just somebody kind of, I don't know if Winston's still there or Dan is still there, if you could just let me know that this is still working because
Well, yeah. One
because
thing I would say is like,
oh, okay, he says it's working. Okay.
what if, I mean, if, what would have Tesla, why would Tesla want to choose an incarnation like Edward Snowden? I mean, a couple of basics are that Edward Snowden has technological achievements. He's trying to change the world. So if Tesla's soul was trying to
Mhm,
impact his next incarnation because he was brilliant and could, perhaps Edward Snowden, in some ways, could, choosing to come into that
mhm,
entity, that
mhm.
that experience, that
Right.
incarnation, could have furthered Tesla's growth at a soul level.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting to. Sorry for taking so long.
No, it's okay because I was hearing that it's because of the time that we're in right now. It's because that certain like, so what, why he's really I think one of the reasons of this, the what I understood from this information that I received was
Uh-huh.
from a source that I have, is that because he's activating this technology, and he needed to come back and activate this technology. And
Huh.
what does this technology do exactly? I don't know specifically what the technology is, but I do know it's very, very, very advanced. And I do know that that's why Trump uh, also created Space Force.
Right.
Two was to you know, use it as an opportunity to develop this a technology and use it, and I do think Musk is involved in it. I don't know what this bromance thing is, that's been going on with them. It kind of is
It's
so silly,
media.
isn't it?
Yeah, I imagine that they're talking behind the scenes. I
Yeah.
mean, do you really think that these two very powerful men are only share their feelings and their connections while they're on camera? I
Yeah.
highly say
Mm.
no.
Mm.
I would think no. So,
Let's see. We have a question in the chat. Marisha says, "Is there a message for me from my dear friend Lyle, who passed 2 years ago?" This is from Marisha from Lyle. Mark.
um,
Mhm.
um, I mean, I get the impression that um, Lyle was, I'm seeing like someone patting her on top of the head. So it makes me think that in his latest incarnation, he may have been on the taller side. He's patting her on the head. He's saying, um, oh, don't give up. It feels like there's a bit of like, keep going, don't give up. I feel like that patting her in the head, telling her that, there's more for you to write. He's saying, sit down and write, sit down and write, do these things. You can write down what you think. I mean, it's just like, um, don't go quiet is what he's telling Marisha.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's see if I can get the chat back over here. So it's pulling things up. Yeah. And what's interesting is that in November, this Goldfish Report team is going to be going into New York to have attend a special event
Yep.
with regard to Ripple and cryptocurrency, and Ripple being the rails of the new um, uh, payment system that's emerging, and XRP being the bridge currency for those rails to work.
Hmm.
Since yeah, so that's very interesting. We're gonna have a good time, and I have a very nice camera. I hope they let me bring it
Yeah.
because I can't. If I don't go in, I certainly am not leaving it outside. But
No.
hi, Laura, how you doing? Yeah.
About,
If anyone
yeah.
has a question for Mark, feel free to put it in the chat and include first names only. So yeah, so I that's why I said, guys, if I tell you like I can't really find a way to explain this, trust me, I couldn't. I was like, I just gonna have to tell you when we go on air, because I was still it was still incubating. I was still processing it. I was still kind of trying to get my mind around it, so that I could talk about it tonight. Um, and it's just very interesting stuff. I mean, because it's all about very advanced technology. It's all about, uh, you know, apparently, like I said, Tesla was working with these white hats. I mean, these tall whites. Snowden said that the U.S. government was run by tall whites. He did say that. Now that's interesting that he would say that,
Oddly
because
enough, Barbara is drawing a tall white. Show that. That's
let's see what you
interesting.
got, Barb.
Kind of a tall white. We saw a show or
Okay.
a report recently.
And he's got some kind of a power ball.
Well, yeah,
It's an energy ball.
we
Yeah,
saw a
like
report.
a plasma ball, Barb, right?
Yeah.
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 We saw a
Wow.
report out of North Carolina where some guy was driving a truck, and he called 911 and he said that he was in an area where there was both interdimensionals, people that may have been as aliens and also to ghosts. And
Mhm.
I think that maybe those ghosts and extra dimensionals
Yeah.
or interdimensionals
Yeah.
can work, collaborate. The guy said he saw a tall, white, kind of somewhat human looking, not
Yeah.
human because
Yeah.
didn't have a nose,
Mm.
was basically what Barbara was drawing,
Mhm.
jump into the back of his truck. And he took evasive moves and slammed the
Saw
brakes.
that.
Yeah, that's a
And he
pretty
goes,
wild
it's
Yeah.
story.
not
Yeah.
human. It's
It's
not
not human.
human.
So are we being visited by non-humans? I
Well,
I think it's entirely possible.
yeah.
And how do they, influence us? They're not showing up as 7 foot tall whites, but
Yeah.
how they can influence us, it blows
Yeah.
my mind.
Well,
They
some people
mind
say, I'm
control.
sorry, Barb, go ahead.
Mind control. They
Yeah.
telepathically they
Yeah, they do.
put thoughts in your head.
Oh, I've, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell my story about this. But
What?
Well, the share, go ahead. We don't mind.
What happened?
I don't know who it was. So I don't know
Okay.
if I
Oh,
should say it, but I do know it was a very divine, beautiful energy. I think it was either my spirit guide or it was an angel that was, I've had many angels. I think I have a team of angels actually. I really do.
Sure.
Yeah. Um, so so I will explain this. All right. A lot of you don't. I never talked about my court case. I've never talked about what happened in this lawfare that was waged against me for a good reason. I don't want to relive it. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
they very, very evil forces. And this is what happens. You see, when you are a strong soul, okay, they know that and
right.
they target you. And they
Hmm.
target you in very, very, you know, um traumatic ways. Okay. Could be through, it could be through someone else too. Could be that they target you through another person, like a spouse, and that spouse, goes crazy and whatever. So as you know, the courts took custody of my kids. And they had no reason to do it.
Hmm.
I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything to hurt anybody. Um, but it made a lot of money for the lawyers involved to keep fighting a custody battle. And that's what they do. It's called churning the case.
Right.
So that means both lawyers work it together to make
Right.
as much money as possible.
Right.
So this is what happened, but I do think there was even more dark spiritual stuff, pushing these people because this stuff was so illegal. It wasn't funny. So after about 100 days, I got custody of my kids back. But the day I was going to finally have a hearing, you're supposed to have a hearing if you're going to do something. They had no hearing. There was no hearing. Finally, like 100 days later, they had a hearing. All the witnesses were coming in to talk. It was going to be a slam dunk. And this is what I really, really despised about my attorney was that she was trying to convince me that um, my choice was either to get my kids back or to be vindicated.
What?
No. So I was sitting in the courtroom and I had gone, it was nobody wants to go through this. Nobody wants to go through this. Not seeing your kids, not being able to love your kids, not being able to take care of your kids, not being able
Hmm.
to know how they're doing, be part of their life on a daily basis. Nobody wants to go. No mother ever should go through that ever.
Yeah.
And I sat in that courtroom that day. I'm not in the courtroom. I'm sorry. I was in a conference room. And the lawyer was going back and forth. My lawyer was going back and forth, trying to strategize.
Hmm.
And I was obviously extremely distraught, very distraught. I was actually trembling a little bit. I was
Hmm.
trembling. Okay. And then something happened. My attorney that day was a female, was wearing this silky golden scarf. And I kept noticing the color of the scarf. And when my father passed away many, many years ago, I surrounded myself with that color because it was so comforting. It was angelic. It was so comfort. It was like, it was healing to me. And that day I noticed this color of her scarf, and the scarf was, it was almost as if she was guided to wear that so that I would pay attention to the color.
Hmm.
Right. And so I kept getting this feeling like, oh, that color, there's something. So she leaves the room. Next thing you know, something told me everything is going to be all right. I heard it in
Wow.
my head. I
Uh-huh.
heard it.
Yeah.
And I instantly stopped shaking. And this calm came over my body.
Hmm.
And she came back in the room and she says, "You're getting your kids back today."
Yay.
Wow. Wow.
But
Well,
I had to make this dirty deal, just like Scott Werner, Scott sat there in prison after what they did to him. And he didn't, he said that Saint Germain appeared to him and told him, if you don't take this deal and plead guilty to charges which were obviously fraudulent,
yeah.
you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. So he made the deal, and then he was free. And he was able to rebuild his life. And you know that the rest, right?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
this is the thing. It's very hard for our ego to overcome these things in this world. And sometimes we have to, I don't want to say make the deal with the devil, but this is his world, right? Jesus said, they're he didn't say, when Satan tempted him in the desert and said, "I'll give you all the fame and fortune of this world and all the riches and everything if you just worship me." Jesus never said, "They're not yours to give."
Yeah.
That's who runs the underworld, runs this place. So that's the reality of it. But that was another, that's why it's kind of a very, haven't told this publicly, but now I have. And that
That's
was
beautiful. That's a great story. I mean,
it is because it was some, I
Spirit.
don't know who it was. I didn't see anybody, but it was very clear to me. There was
Right.
nothing that was going to get me to stop shaking. That did. And it was, who said it? Who was it? Maybe Mark can tell me. Mark.
well, it feels like guardian angel for
Right.
sure.
So,
Barb and I both have had those experiences, those moments.
Yeah.
And I would say that um, what makes it feel real, sound real to me is that, spirits they whisper. They don't yell. They
right.
don't, do skywriting. It's very simple. And it's often very quiet. And
Yeah.
you were, for many reasons, in a place where you could have the mind space,
Yeah.
the availability to hear it. And so that's a real blessing.
Yeah,
If any,
especially in a courthouse. I mean, I was in a courthouse, but I wasn't in the courtroom. I was in a conference room. And it's all cinder block. It's really like a prison, right? It's all cinder block, and there was just a window there. And for me to have like this amazing spiritual experience in such a dungeon, it really is a
yeah,
dungeon. That's what I consider it. Was, there's just no, it's unquestionable because it also had that effect on me. Like, what, I don't know how it did it, but it
mhm,
just calmed me. It gave me peace. Like, it gave me the sense of peace and
mhm,
comfort. And
Yeah.
this is what I mean. It's like, there's, that's who ran this world. And that's why this story is so important, not my story, but the story that we started out the report with, because that's why they're doing this. They came here, they've been working on, in secrecy,
mhm,
right? We removing all of this evil on this planet.
mhm, mhm,
And they've had to do that. They've done it through jumping timelines, through disguising themselves. Don't think that they don't have access to it too. I don't know what they have access to, but I kind of presume that they do. But they've had access to Looking Glass. We've had access to Looking Glass. It's beyond Looking Glass. We're talking jumping timelines. This is timeline mechanics, isn't really something that nobody knows about. It's a physics that we don't know much about. Um, but nonetheless, it's very real and it happens. And of course, Tesla knew all about this. Tesla made contact. Now, what my source also said was that the military has the power. See, recently the military came out, someone from the military, I guess he was talking at a I think it was a college, it was at a university or
Mhm.
something. And he said that the US military has the power to bend space and time.
No.
So
Yeah, I
this
heard that.
is, yeah, so this is what they're talking about. And you probably heard like the Tibetan monks and stuff, like real meditation. It's possible, Mark, that you really do jump timelines yourself when you're in deep states of meditation too.
I
But
feel like that's the case. I mean, I not always,
yeah.
but I've had experiences where it's like, okay, what's funny, just I'll let you get back, is that I'll tell somebody something and they said, that's never going to happen. All right, never mind. That doesn't make any sense. And then they call me back a year or so from now. You won't believe this. What you
Hmm.
said, everything happened. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Hmm.
I'm just glad to be a participant in it, but that really does happen.
And that the galactic, so what happens is in the military, you have galactic military operations. That's what's happening with USSF, galactic military operations. And they do this to connect with certain people, certain souls, certain individuals. But you have to, so in order to get your spirit to really leave
Hmm.
in the timeline, you have to train for it. And he said that this is really what um these yogis, excuse me, Buddha and a lot of other people talked about. And you've seen pictures in Tibet of like these monks, and somebody said, don't interrupt him, he's meditating. He's gonna come back.
Yeah.
And it's boggles the mind, but there's so much about our physical world that we don't understand, that we don't know about, that we are going to start to know more about it. And by virtue of me even talking about it means it's already begun. And we will be learning more about this and more about this. And a lot of this does connect to AI. Now, I know that there's this connects with Tesla military operations because he is a government contractor, but my source says he is the captain of the Space Force.
That's interesting.
I don't know if that's accurate, but I wouldn't be surprised. Although I do think he acts like a cyborg, and it's probably true.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, guys, I mean, Star Trek, where do you think they got all these ideas? I mean, you
Yeah.
know, honestly, this stuff is mind-boggling. Um, but it's hard to it's hard to, there are many different dimensions, many different. I think
Mhm.
that's a concept most people can readily accept. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, what the reason why it
Frank?
makes me think that, well, Barb and I, again, we've seen like spirit beings appear, disappear on camera, off
Mm,
camera.
yeah,
So that was interesting. And so, but the fact that they would come back in a similar area was pretty compelling. Also, too, it explains to me how I can hear certain things, how,
right.
and then even though it hasn't happened or it's not, or I would have no way of knowing it, someone in that area comes to me and says, "This happened. This happened. This happened."
Yeah, because it's already happened. Like someone from the future is telling you that,
Mhm.
or someone who's on a timeline that's it's a future timeline. It doesn't have to be 2050. I mean, but this stuff happens. I mean, I know that there's other all right, time travelers, if you want to call it, but it's
Mhm.
really timeline jumping and things like that. And this is very deep, technology. Um,
Well,
so
that's
But we have it in our mind. We have that technology here. We just haven't tapped into it. Mark has
absolutely.
tapped into it. I on occasion through meditation or
Mm,
dreams have tapped into it, like unbelievable virtual reality. And so we just have to develop more of what's up here, you
yeah.
know.
and be conscious
And
of wanting to do
why
it.
why in fact the COVID, the whole thing was to destroy the pineal gland, which is our connection. They
Yeah.
said that they looked at patients that had gotten a shot,
Yeah.
and their pineal gland was like
Calcify.
Destroyed.
calcified.
Destroyed.
Yeah, and
Well, there's
so
ways, but there's ways to So Dan is saying that there's 1,728 constructs in a 3D matrix. Okay. Winston says his twin flame jumped this timeline once when he was a teen and they had a week together before she jumped back. I'm telling you, this is why you have to really be open to things. And that's why when somebody from another timeline,
Right.
Yeah,
you know it, and you might not realize it right away, but then it might be interesting to see, if because I once knew somebody from another timeline that I absolutely knew. Well, I don't even want to talk about that. So,
that's a great story. I'd love to hear it, but maybe not now.
yeah, yeah. Oh boy, you have no idea. Oh my God. So, anyway, this is all about what's happening now. We are going to go through some difficult times. We know that in process of this awakening, okay, because we are in
Right.
a process of awakening, truly.
Well, what
We
one thing
have been
I
subjected to, oh, go ahead, Mark. Mhm.
I was going to say is that it really feels like to me, Barb and I are looking, we're all looking at the news, what's happening in the
Yeah,
news.
yeah.
We hear the term a spiritual battle, but it really is. And
Hmm.
also, too,
Yeah.
if you have a personal weakness that maybe the enemy can use against you to distract you, to cause you
Yeah.
to not have faith. I think that, I get tempted to don't pay attention here, look here,
Right.
and it feels like it's always to my detriment. It's
Hmm.
always in the way of my spiritual connections. So I'm trying to be
Mm.
conscious of that. I would
Yeah.
encourage everyone, if something keeps getting in your way, to keep you from meditating, looking deeper at a subject, being able to recognize that this is a spiritual battle.
Mm.
In
Mm.
fact, many of the things that are happening in the news, I
Mm.
mean, that's just an indicator that the
Mm.
battle is being fought now. I
Yeah.
mean, one way to say it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Hi, Charlene. How are you? If you have a question for Mark, please feel free to type your question in the chat and include first names.
Do you have a question for me?
Well,
Do you have a question for me?
Hmm.
I'm making her think. Uh-oh.
maybe.
Well, spit it out if you want. I'm happy.
So this is what's happening. What's underneath Russia happens to be some very, very, very advanced technology. And all this is playing into the draining of the swamp. Um, I mean, I am so I think a lot of people are very I I think it's healthy to take a step back from
Hmm.
how high, this MAGA community, right? They almost look at Trump like he's like a savior and almost like
Hmm.
idolizing.
Right.
We know about false idols, right? But
Yes.
it's kind of not but I think that they're starting to take a little bit of a step back and see that all that glitter isn't gold. And he's got a lot of gold. Oh my God, that Oval Office now looks so gaudy. He's trying to make himself look like Napoleon or what? I mean, it's like when you go into like the Schönbrunn Palace in Austria and you see
Yeah.
all the
Right.
gilded golden stuff all over. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, he's trying to make it look like a palace. Then he wants a ballroom. I mean, really, this is where it's going.
Oh my God,
I
where'd you see
know.
that?
I know. But the Oval Office, it's an office. It's not like a
Yeah.
parlor.
Well,
It's not
maybe
like
he
a
feels comfortable in it. I don't know.
yeah.
I do think that he's the best we can hope for at the moment. But he's still a human. He still has
Yeah.
his own frailties. And some of the choices that I'm hearing, I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why some things are not happening. I also accept the fact that there's a lot that we don't know and that we're
Mhm.
being actively manipulated and
Yeah.
prevented.
Hmm.
Cover-ups from everything related to the Charlie Kirk shooting to, there's a whole industry designed to make us wonder about um, why it happened. What's the truth? Is there truth? Will we ever see the truth? Why was there no autopsy? All kinds of interesting questions pop up. But that's just one little tiny focal point that they want us to focus on right now. It's a terrible tragedy and it's not small. But what else is happening that, I always think, okay, it's like a magic trick. Everybody look here, but this is really happening here. So And I mean, I can't say anything that
Hmm.
would diminish. I mean, what happened to him was terribly tragic, but I
Hmm.
do feel like that there are many people trying to make the message
Hmm.
or this terrible event work for them.
Well, you know what? We have a question. So the
Okay.
question is, are the Irma lion people involved with the Three Eye Atlas?
Um, I think they are. I would like to think, I mean, that's it makes me feel like that we're being visited close. Feels like that there's someone wants to raise our consciousness of our place in the universe.
Yeah.
So the Irma people, was it the Irma?
Irma. It looks like Irma. But you know what? It looks like they're Lyra. I think they're aren't the lion people Lyrans from Lyra? Is Lyra from the Pleiadians? Is Lyra are you getting a feeling for a connection to
There's Barbara's
Lyra?
drawing. Here's a
Who's that? That's
That's
me
the
when I wake up in the morning.
that's that's the Irmas.
Oh, oh, okay. They're supposed to be like lion people with ears and look like lions. I don't know.
Well,
That's
his hair is
cool.
up in there.
Yeah, like a lion. Yeah, like a
like a
mane.
mane,
Like a
like
mane.
a
Exactly,
mane.
exactly. Interesting. Yeah, so that's an interesting question. 9 other ships coming in, Winston
Well,
says.
I think
Yeah.
that they want us to be conscious of our place in the universe, and that having this meteorite, I don't think it's going to hit us, but it is doing some things that an inert rock would not do. I've heard that it's expanding in size, I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
if it's,
Yeah.
Irma.
but this
Yeah.
is the thing too. It's like we get so much misinformation. I think it's solely
Mm.
there to keep us utterly confused and give
Right.
up almost. So,
Well, it's true. I think it is confusing. And even being in media, I mean, it's overwhelming, and yet there's still actors. When I
yes.
say actors, I say there's still people who are still trying to, I don't know, there's still a negative branch here who is still
Oh,
trying to
without a
push a
doubt.
very negative agenda. Now, you saw what happened this week at the UN, right? So you
Right.
Yes.
saw that the escalator stopped right as Trump and Melania got
Yes.
on
Yeah.
it, and then the teleprompter didn't work, and Trump was pissed. I mean, he was
Yes.
mad
Well,
as
they were
hell.
doing
Yeah.
it to him on purpose,
Of
you know?
course. And he's gonna, I mean, the UN, NATO, all this is going to be disbanded. NATO right now is presently being disbanded. And the thing about Trump is that he says, okay, I'm going to give you all the money because he's supposed to be the leader of the UN, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to give you the money to buy the weapons, but we don't want anything to do with it. So it's like he's really relinquishing his position of controlling the UN there, and or not controlling it, but being the head of the UN in in his in the role that the US has. And he funds it. I mean, we fund the UN, and I
Yes.
think it's time to
Right.
stop. So this is playing out. You see what's happening? This is the world stage, and
Yeah.
all these things are playing out to show the people what's really happening behind the scenes, to show the people what's going on.
Yep.
Um, I I mean, I'm very sad to see that, so many Ukrainian men were killed, over in Ukraine, or at least what was reported. It was they're decimating them. But, then again, there's genocide happening in Gaza. So, like, nobody cares. It's like these babies. I mean, I'm seeing pictures. Is this real? It looks like it is. And of course, when Netanyahu got up to talk, most people left. Most diplomats who
Yeah.
were there at the UN got up and left. And I did go to the UN once. I was there to meet what was her name? Mm, Judy. She was a Nobel laureate,
Uh-huh.
and I
Wow.
was there when I started public policy studies at graduate school. I don't remember her last name. I have her book though. Judy William. No, it's not Judy, but I don't remember her name. But she won a Nobel Prize for her work with regard to landmines and stuff.
Oh,
And yeah, so I was there and I got to meet her, and it's a very interesting place if you've never been there. But it's almost, so Trump was really mad that this happened, and I think this is going to immediately he put the message out, should we defund the UN? And
Yes.
everybody's, all, everybody's resoundingly saying yes, of course we should. So escalator caused by the White House staff. Do you get a feeling for that? Winston says the escalator and teleprompter problem caused by White House staff. Really?
I don't feel like that at all. I feel like that. I mean, the only way you could rationalize or get to that place is if he came in with the idea, I'm going to defund you, and I needed another little physical or visual saying that, look, they're disrespecting us. So, but I gotta think that it was someone at the UN. It doesn't, I just don't see it. I mean, I don't think Trump needs to do that.
Hmm.
So, while it's an interesting concept and could you make an argument? Yeah, but I don't feel
Yeah.
like that was the case.
Yeah. I mean, think about it though. I mean, think about Trump has egg on his face. Oh, yeah. Just think about how, if they needed a reason to, I mean, in a sense, it could have been a false flag, right? It could have been done deliberately by the Trumps in order to, by the White House, as Winston's saying, in order to justify, uh, well, not only defunding the UN, but he was out there calling people out.
Well,
He,
yeah, but I would say too, though, is that the UN has been denigrating the United States for decades. We don't need a little playing with the escalator
yeah,
to use it as a, for forever they have
yeah,
been beating us up
uh-huh,
in our own, and we're paying for the privilege to
mhm,
be beat up, and they've
yeah,
done it for decades. So I don't think that we needed this
mhm,
as an excuse to dump
okay.
payment.
Well, you know what? So Winston mentioned something earlier too. He says that 9 other ships are coming in, and there have been other, meteors or asteroids or something
Yeah, yeah.
reported. Like, actually, as I think I reported one last week, that there was one coming in that was called Groom,
Yeah, yes,
as in a bride and a groom, and that the groom was coming, at the same time of the Kirk assassination,
yeah,
and that the groom was coming for its bride, which is the church, and Kirk is
yeah,
church. And I'm
yeah.
telling you guys, you can't, you have to be Hollywood writers to kind of get
How
this stuff.
about that movie Snake Eyes,
Yeah.
Charlie Kirkland? I mean,
Yeah.
what the hell? I mean, that's
Well,
just,
they foreshadow, and that's how the Satanists work. So that's how they foreshadow. It's call it predictive programming, if you will, but they
yeah,
do that because they have to give you notice. And if you don't
Right.
object,
yeah,
they consider it tacit consent. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that, and I'm not saying that that's valid at all, because if you're using deception, they say the deception's on you if you're being deceived. I mean, really?
that
You know,
movie was, I mean, to say
yeah,
that that was a clear message, we're going to attack Charlie Kirk. I
yeah,
mean, come on, the movie was 27 years old. What
yeah,
is he? Was he three when the movie was made?
yeah,
And then, Tyler. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
know.
that there's
Yeah.
really coincidence, but when I see this,
Uh-huh.
that's hardly qualifies as, see, we told you.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh
it,
no, I
it's
agree with you completely. That's why I say, I mean, they're using deception, and they use things. I mean,
deception.
nobody is really gonna, now people are gonna start analyzing every movie and start thinking, well, what are they telling us? And
Right.
that's really how you have to watch it, because
Yeah,
that's what they
I see
do. They
it.
use the movies to tell us what they're gonna do, and then boom, here we have it. And if you look at Back to the Future, there's so much predictive programming on 9/11 in that one. And there's people on YouTube who do movies, who do, videos about it. You could go look at it. And this
Yeah,
is beyond the point of, this is beyond, way beyond, not even in the realm of coincidence. It's absolute planning. So yeah.
right.
So anyway, yeah, we're at the top of the hour now, and that really just went by really fast. And I don't know, tonight was kind of a slow night tonight. But I wanted to tell you where you can go if you wanted to have a reading with Mark. You can come here to his website. If I can pull this up. Hold on a second.
The
Let's see.
UN is in charge of my website tonight. They're
Yeah.
stopping it. Yeah.
I had a good time when I was there. It was very good. It was very interesting. So here it is. It's marknelsonmedium.com, and you can come
Okay.
here and you can book an appointment, or you can buy one as a gift to somebody, which I used to do with Steve all the time. And he just loved it. It was always a great surprise, and it was very interesting. In fact, the first one of this other psychic that I know, when right after Steve passed, she told me a very funny way to say this, but she said she instantly, immediately connected with Steve, and she said he's having the time of his life in death. And
That's a
I thought,
good turn of phrase.
yeah, I thought you could appreciate that because you probably hear that. You
Oh yeah.
probably experience that, right?
Oh
What do
yeah.
people
They're
say they're
not sitting
doing though?
around.
But
Oh, they're
yeah,
not sitting on clouds. I mean, that
yeah.
they're paying attention to the people they love, and they're
Hmm.
having fun with them.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So I just find this very fascinating. I really was happy to be able to bring this information to everybody tonight. Because, then it makes more sense when you start looking at the books that Ingersoll Lockwood, and not only the books, but the website, and how the website has all these hidden links that go that you click and then you could go find to other places, and it reveals, and Ingersoll Lockwood is kind of, they had I think in the beginning, like during Q, when Q was posting,
Hmm.
they had like a rabbit hole kind of thing you could click on and go down the rabbit hole, and like it was very interesting. And I haven't like looked at it lately, but I will look at it again soon in
Can
light of
you
this
Ingersoll?
information.
How do you spell it? Just the way it sounds like. Is it a website or is it an
Well,
author?
they do have a here, I'll screen share it for everybody. Of course, I'm going to have that ready for you guys.
Of course you do. Well, I figured you would. Ingersoll. I was queuing you up.
There you go. Here it is, Ingersoll Lockwood. And so it's Ingersoll Lockwood. Let me see. Ingersoll Lockwood. There's three L's in a row because Ingersoll is two L's. And then the
Oh
L,
yeah,
that's why I got it. Because when I first typed it in, I was like, well, why is this not working?
three L's.
It's
Yeah,
three L's because the Ingersoll is um the two it's a double L at the end.
yeah.
And the fascinating thing about this was how he was sent. So he was deliberately sent by Lincoln, who also hasn't left. And he's I don't we'll have to you'll have to stay tuned to find out who he is today, because this is fascinating technology. I mean, how would he know? And Lincoln Calhoun, this is the Calhoun bloodline, supposedly is supposed to be a Drew's bloodline. And that's a whole other report. We don't have time to get into that right now,
Yeah.
but that's where JFK came in, where supposedly the bloodline of Christ. So, but that's again, like I said, for another report. But this is very fascinating, and you can actually, oh, look, U.S. Space Force is hiring. Hiring what?
Oh, good.
But look, this is fun. You can go on the website, right? And you can kind of like use your mouse, right? And then all of a sudden you see it highlights that there's nothing there. Look. And if you
Huh.
highlight it, there's something, see, there's something there and it says RIP CK. So they have these hidden links on their page, but you couldn't see it unless you were able to highlight it. See that?
Yeah.
I just highlighted that, and now I'm clicking on that, and this comes to a new page, and it's verifying that I'm human. There you go. I guess
Wow.
when you do that, they get to look at your and it has a little song here. Can you guys hear this?
No.
Hold on. Let's see. Oh, no, hold on.
Walk with the truth, never walked alone.
There we go.
Wow.
You can't hear
Erica
it?
by
We
his
can hear it now.
side,
Yes.
Okay.
holding on tight. Two little blessings brought joy to his life. We'll stand like Charlie, hearts full of light, speaking the truth and choosing what's right. Family and faith, the anchor we hold. The story of Charlie will never grow old.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but you can go to that website. You can find that link and listen to that song yourself if you like to. But that's the kind of fun thing that they always have, these like hidden links, and you can go,
That's fun. That's
check things
interesting.
out. Oh yeah, it's great if you can get there and check that out. Otherwise, I don't know. Was there anything else you guys had for tonight that you wanted to talk about, or
Um,
that you wrap it
well,
up, or you
I would
have
say,
anything
you know
else?
what? So again, going back to, if you're confused, you don't know what to believe, you don't know what to do, the one thing you can always do is say a prayer and do a visualization of what you would like to see happen.
Yeah.
So try that. And since this is
Yeah.
a spiritual warfare, that's something we can do to protect ourselves. Pray and visualize what you would like to see. Feel it too. The other thing is that I try to feel, do I want my family to feel safe? Do I want the United States to be at peace? I try to imagine, sense what that would feel like. So do that.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this unexpected turn of reporting
Absolutely.
tonight, and how I knew couldn't wait. I was like, wait, I can't wait to talk to Mark and Barb about this, because this is, of course, this could explain a lot of how Mark can access people
Thank you.
who
Yes.
have crossed over. And I also have a whole collection of images from the Tartarian society, the
Those
empire,
are really amazing,
the
mind-blowing.
the one that was, I think I sent you one, Mark. I sent you one. They had a device, a literal device that you could use to connect with someone who's crossed over, and even their face would appear in it. The energy of their face,
That's
it would take,
mind-blowing.
and it was some kind of device. This is like during Tesla's time, you know?
Huh.
Wow.
I think I don't know how long Tatari, it's a lie, but when you look at the maps, you can see it was, very influential in all these world fairs. I'm sorry, these were not plaster. This was Tataria, and they destroyed it and took it down. It, I know a lot of people are going to be surprised to hear that, but it's the truth. That was the society that was reset in the First World War. And that's what the World War was to continue to remove the evidence of that,
Wow.
because we were infiltrated by very, very dark Satanists. And that's what they did. They decided to take us from this pinnacle of humanity that we
Right.
reached in this
Mhm.
Tatarian society, where we had electric cars, we had flying things, we had all kinds of things, all kinds of technology. People were proper, people were moral.
Mhm.
People had good qualities of life. And then, of course, the Spanish flu came along, and when people started realizing things weren't, they weren't on the up and up, the dissenters were put into these gigantic insane asylums. And how can we have so many insane asylums? How can there be so many insane people, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened to the orphan trains? What happened to the orphanages? Where did all these orphans come from?
Yeah.
That's what happened, folks. It was the reset. They did a reset. They
Uh,
removed our history. They took it all down. They told us it was fake. It was a world fair. It was not. It was the society that preceded us, and we found it. We did not, build these beautiful, like the Flatiron Building in New York City,
yeah.
and lots of other buildings. We did not, our grandfathers did not build that. That's from a very old society. We found these buildings. And you know what's interesting? How did these bankers get so rich? Well, I'm going to tell you how. They are the squatters. They came along
Uh,
and they took over all this real estate, and they charged you to live there and to run your business there. And those are the parasites that we're dealing with in this
Right.
society today. And we have to be able to understand that you know, this all has to come out. This all has to come out, and I believe that it will. But we have to be able to, and that's why they're doing this so slowly, because quite honestly, this would just, I don't know, I think a lot of people would just go berserk, and I don't think that's their goal. I think their goal is to, wake
Good
people up,
point.
but in a healthy way. And so that's why, unfortunately, we have to see all this stuff happen. Now, Trump just defunded Black Lives, well, it includes Black Lives Matter, not
And
just Antifa, but he declared them
yeah,
a terrorist
very.
organization.
good.
And so now he's going after the funding of that. He's going after Soros. He's going after that. And so what I would advise everybody, as Mark has seen in his predictions, and Mark, I'm sure your predictions, if you want to just tell us, are they still, you still
Well, I
seeing this
still see
uprising?
Yeah.
I see that there's going to be more civil unrest, very violent civil unrest. I think that it's going to be sadly coming from the left. The right prays, the left burns,
Yeah,
and
right.
that's just unfortunately how it goes.
Yeah,
And so the left is being defunded. They want to take over our country. They want to destroy
yeah.
what was here.
Mhm.
They're not coming. I mean, what they want is not what we want. So
Yeah,
expect bad things. I hate to say
yeah,
it, but how many trans shooters do we need to see? How many connections to the sick,
yeah,
sad people that feel like their only option is to mutilate their bodies and then to shoot people who disagree with it? So it's a very tragic, sad time. But
yeah,
that said, thank you for bringing it up. Everyone pay attention to like
Your
can
surroundings.
I, if I can't get to
yeah,
the grocery store for
yeah,
2 weeks, will I be okay? Very basic things.
yeah,
Do I have enough food? Do I have bottle? What if the tap water stopped coming
yeah,
for what if you had
Yeah.
a only burn? I mean, please just look at ways to get around temporary issues.
yeah.
That's all.
And well, that's good advice because I mean, right now, a lot of the financial analysts are talking about the de-dollarization and the likelihood that we're going to be now, right now, there's the Democrats are going crazy because Trump's not going to pass a bill that's going to include money to continue to give free healthcare to illegals
Illegals.
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
and all this other stuff. So it looks like there may be a government shutdown. And why should I say that? Because they always threaten a government shutdown when they don't get these spending bills passed.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah.
also, there is now to corroborate possible problems here. They put up cement walls around
The
buildings in the
yeah.
buildings in
Yeah.
Washington D.C. Now they didn't do that for no reason.
No.
So I doubt so there probably will be a government shutdown. Now also Hegseth has called together like I
All
don't
the
know, all the
general.
admirals and generals and things like that. It's a very in Quantico. It's a huge that's big. I mean the mainstream media
All
should be
over the
talking
world.
about this, but they're
Yeah.
not. They're not talking about it. The reality is some of them are going to go. And uh, I don't know that. I mean, let's face it, we have a problem with DEI in the army, I mean, in the military. We
Mhm.
have the military industrial complex. That's not been, President Eisenhower warned us about that, and that has not been taken care of yet.
No. No.
So that still has to be taken care of, and I think this may be part of it. And so eventually, it is going to look very different in the future, but
Yeah.
the question is, if humanity has to be seen as fighting for the right to survive here. And
Yeah.
if humanity is going to be, pretty much most people who have gotten that jab have been affected by it. And there's all kinds of reports coming out about, studies that are being done, people who have suffered cognitive decline or some kind of cognitive impairment. Clearly, their physical health has suffered from it. For
Right.
not everybody, but because not all, they were not able to infiltrate all of the batches.
No.
What I was told was that um there was a bait and switch. I mean, there was like a switcheroo, not a bait and switch. There
Mhm.
was a switch that happened that some of these vials, because what Trump was putting out was not um from my sources, the vaccines that Trump was rushing through in Operation Warp Speed were not the vaccines that the deadly batches that people received.
Interesting.
Okay. So what happened was Pfizer actually did that switching.
Uh,
Yeah. So I mean that does clear Trump to a certain extent.
Yeah, I would hope so.
But I don't like the fact that the logo for Operation Warp Speed is it's a coronavirus molecule, but it's in a cube. And I don't like that because
Oh,
that's
wow.
always going back to the Saturn cube, the whole thing. Chunky Builder. Oh my gosh. It's okay. I'm glad you're still there. Yeah, October 30th alignments.
Oh,
Five-star generals. War Department. Yeah, they have to fix the military. There's no question. So Dan is saying they'll bring back the 5-star generals. Look, I mean, Colonel McGregor is like, I have to say, he's like, this guy is such a historian. He knows, oh, I don't know. I hope Trump is listening to him, but he seems to think, I've been watching a lot of his interviews, and he seems to think that, his opinion is not popular in DC at this present moment. He's
Hmm.
so knowledgeable. He's like the rock star of retired generals or retired
Huh.
colonels. He truly is, because he outshines like everybody else who's being interviewed. And there's not a lot of retired generals or colonels who are giving interviews, but this guy just hits it out of the ballpark every time I listen to him. And he, because he's so knowledgeable on history, and also on how that impacts today, and what's happening today. He definitely sees that war is inevitable, though. I have warned for a very long time that there was going to be a possible like Bay of Pigs scenario that may emerge. So, like what Mark says, definitely stock up on some food. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm not fear mongering. I don't make any money at this, so I'm
No,
not trying to get any clicks. There's no clickbait here. This is
no.
just I'm hoping that this information is 100% correct, um, because I do want to warn people
Yeah.
that things are escalating. Unfortunately, these things have to happen for some reason. I don't know why, but they do have to happen. And I think that is
Mhm.
part of the awakening, possibly, probably because it's still part of the awakening process,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
we are coming out of a slumber, that we are coming out of this forgetfulness, this amnesia that we've had.
Mm.
Um, uh,
Amnesia, that's a good word.
yeah, it's an amnesia, and it was engineered, though. I mean, it's not,
Mhm.
Right.
it's not I mean, we were deliberately kept ignorant of our true history and our true, as you're saying, Barbara, everybody has the ability to do it. We just don't
Mhm.
know how. We don't know that we can. So you're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, just definitely prepare the so as I was saying, the financial analysts are definitely predicting that there's going to be a major correction in the market, a major, and there kind of has to be, in order to go to implement the new rails for the
Yeah.
transfer system, the wire transfer system and the on the
Right.
planet. So yeah, that's what Ripple is. It's the new rails for the global transfer system,
Mhm.
and on the blockchain, of course.
Mhm.
And XRP is that bridge currency that's going to be the one that what bothers me about that is that I'm hearing that there's a private ledger and a public ledger with regard to XRP, and it's already up
Oh,
to like over $400,000 on the private ledger. So why is there two ledgers? Why? I mean, I thought this was supposed to be transparent,
yeah.
right? Isn't
Yeah.
this about
Uh-oh.
transparency? Yeah. Oh, the amnesia grid has been removed. Interesting. I mean, interesting. I mean, right. That's why people are like waking up. But what do we wake up
Yeah.
to, right? So it has to we have to go through these kind of birth pains of um learning all the things that we didn't know and that
Mhm.
we forgot, or that were
Yeah.
hidden from us too. So there was a lot done in the dark, guys. There were a lot of stuff done, underground bases, stuff that, we may never know about. But the thing is that we just need to try to yeah, I know, right? Chunky Builder is saying yes, some transparency. Hey, exactly. Let's hope that at some point too, I was watching, and they were saying that they will merge at some point. So that's when
Ooh.
yeah, so that's when that's when the two ledgers will merge. And so then that's probably when we'll see. But it's all regulatory, everything has to do with regulatory framework that's being built. Um what we don't want to happen is what happened in Vietnam this past week. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah. 75 million accounts, was
I
it?
think it was 86 million accounts that
86.
were frozen
Wow.
because these people did not want to give their biometric private, identity,
Yeah.
to the banks. But it is
Wow.
communist.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
not forget. It is communist. And those people, there's revolutions going on all over the world. Look, France is another report I saw was that France was they're getting ready to activate their military against the people. It's not good. And oh my God, the
Uh-oh.
UK is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. Is this going to be like the major crash? Is that why? Is this going to be a crash and they're trying to, planning ahead so that they could quell any kind of uprising? I don't know.
Possibly.
It's possibly, right? What do you think, Mark?
Well, I do see there's going to be more fighting. I mean, part of me doesn't want to give in to all of the fear and the fear
Right,
mongering,
right.
but I do feel like that I see incidents of fighting happening between. I thought in the United States it was primarily terrorist organizations in the
Yeah.
United States taking them on,
Mhm.
but that's how it looked. In other countries, where say in Europe, where you really like in to be specific, in England,
Mhm.
they're attacking their people for expressing their opinion and looking at information online, which is just breathtaking to me.
Oh my God, I can't. It's horrible to see
Yeah.
this when you're looking at going through your X feed and then you're seeing all these people be arrested for retweeting something.
Yes, it's horrific.
Look,
And
there's
how
another
long
kid.
before the English people just say enough?
They have no gun. They have no weapons. They can't fight back. What are they going to do, right? And it's all Muslim now. I mean, it's horrible what's happening over there. It's horrible. Feel bad for them. But in Canada, as if that wasn't horrible enough, correction, not collapse. Okay. Um, in Canada, there's this ostrich farm. Everybody should know about this and talk about it because they want to go and cull all of those ostriches, and
Right.
they're not sick or anything. There's nothing wrong
Right.
with them. They're just evil. I guess they want to, I don't know why they want to do that. That's so mean. Why would they
Yeah.
want to do that? But
Yeah.
they've been going to court. I guess they had like maybe a GoFundMe. They've been trying to raise funds in order to fight this, in order to get them off their property. I mean, there's definitely one way to do it. Well, I'm not going to tell what that is. I'm not going to say what that
No.
is, but it's like, look, this is what I'm saying. I mean, but the people have to rise up. I can't believe all those police in the UK who are actually destroying their own country. They're
Right.
ruining the UK by actually acting on those orders.
Yeah, I know. When
That's
will
what
they
that's
They
what
stop?
might,
amazes me.
but they might be hiring Muslims.
No, I've seen a lot of white
No,
faces
yeah, there's a
in those
lot of white
videos.
police. Yeah, there are. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. East Midlands. Oh, Chunky's in England. East Midlands. Yeah. So Chunky Builder is in England. I feel so bad for you guys over there. I
Yeah,
don't I really it's horrible. It's horrible that little kids have to walk around carrying, carrying knives and stuff in order just to not be raped,
Right.
not
To
be
protect
raped, okay?
themselves.
This is not good. And where are the men? Like where I don't even see men. I don't know where the men are. This world became castrated or something, I don't know
I
where
don't
the
know.
men are not, but that's what what's his name? Max Spears said years ago before they killed him was that in order to infiltrate a society, you have to get rid of the alpha males. And
Yeah,
of course,
Right.
they've been doing that because the
Yeah.
alpha males will protect the females and then once and protect, fight back. And once you remove them, then you can pretty much, they're all soft targets and you can infiltrate. And, it's interesting because he was killed. He was poisoned in Poland actually when he was there to give a talk.
wow.
He's a woman's. He's so Chunky is saying honestly a very scary place to be a woman at the moment. Yeah, it is. It totally is.
In
It
in
is.
in Britain?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Chunky. Yeah, that's it. So it is a correction. Yeah, I don't know, what it's going to look like, Winston. I have no idea what it's going to look like. But I think there's going to be some people who are definitely going to be impacted by this financially. So, Jim Rickards and a lot of other people who are been uh doing interviews lately or the safe thing is always silver and gold, because that's, going to actually be backing the new system. So,
Mhm.
but getting there could be, a little bit tricky. So, that's, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just telling you what he said. And he's the financial expert. So, that's about it for tonight. So I just hope everybody, just wanted to
Be
share this
well, be
information to
safe. All
everybody.
right, be well, be safe.
Have a
And
nice
Look
weekend.
out for each other.
Yeah.
Pray.
Have a nice weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week, right, Barb and Mark?
Yes,
Yes.
we'll see
We'll
you
see
next week.
see you guys next week. So to everybody, thanks for your questions and thanks for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next week. It'll be on Facebook next week. But we will see you next week. And until then, be safe and have a great weekend. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.